Hello, everybody. Happy Monday. Welcome to week 10 of your free real estate education. Today, you are very fortunate to have a man who has sold over $4 billion in real estate. His name is Daron Campbell. He is a coach, a mentor, an author, a friend of mine, and he does a lot of business, a lot of soul work, a lot of physical work, and he is an all-around great guy. Lots of energy, lots of information. We're going to go ahead and jump into class right now, and I'm going to bring my friend Daron on. Here we go. Let's jump in. Daron Campbell, how are you today, handsome?
I am outstanding, David. How are you, sir?
I'm great, my brother. It is good to see you. I appreciate you joining us for a second week in a row. Last week you taught the high school students. Today you're jumping on live on Facebook. We're going to send this out to YouTube, and this is going to be a free real estate education and mentorship and coaching for our adults. So thank you, my brother, for being here.
It is my pleasure.
All right, well, let's go ahead and let's jump in. This is going to be your free session here with Daron Campbell. Go ahead and soak it up, get as much information as you can, ask your questions. This is the time. Daron, the show is yours, my brother.
Thank you, David Serpa. I got to tell you guys, you don't realize how fortunate you are to have a guy like Dave Serpa doing all that he does from the heart. And I just got to say thanks to David, and anytime and any opportunity I get to help David out, I do it because this guy's all heart. I mean, 90% of what he doesn't have to do. And he does it for the good of people because he's a good guy. And I like seeing good guys win. And if anybody tells you that, the good guys finish last, that is absolutely not true, because genuine good guys like Dave Serpa, um, they get everything they get that's good, they deserve. And so anytime I can help that guy out, I'm doing it. Okay, so I am supposed to talk to you guys today about mentorship, about coaching. And the funny thing about that is mentorship and coaching are two of the most two of the most important things to help you in the evolution or the advancement of your career. And it almost doesn't even matter what that is. If the learning curve is always shortened when you have a mentor or a coach or both. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. But especially in real estate, we have this sense of this Lone Ranger mentality, and it's like me against the world, and I got to be this popular solo flyer. And I'll start my little chat with you guys by saying that mentality is a fundamental mistake, in my opinion. Now, Dave told you, who am I, and why can I even tell you anything? This is my 30th year in the real estate business. This will be my 30th year. And as David said, I've closed just over $4.5 billion, right at $4.6 billion worth of real estate transactions in my career. And so I've been blessed. I've been fortunate. But I'll tell you this, the way that I was able to accelerate my real estate growth, and the way I was able to expand rapidly, was literally 100% because of a mentor who kind of sped me along the route. And let me tell you the story, and I'll make it quick. Long time ago, I was new in the business, and the idea was, there's the telephone, there's the directory, go sit down in your cubicle and start dialing. And the training, they taught you the fundamentals of about real estate and real estate transactions, and the nuts and bolts of real estate deals, but they didn't really tell you how to sell. You never got a real course on salesmanship, and I think that's a big flaw in the brokerage education realm, is that people forget we are salespeople and we need to be taught to sell. And I think very, very few real estate agents actually know how to sell. And here's the thing: when you become a master salesman, then real estate becomes like a whole lot of other things. That if you really are good at being a salesperson, you your career will reach crazy heights. Like, for instance, if you're a great salesperson, you could go and sell cars, or you can go and sell annuities, or you could go and sell insurance. You could sell real estate, and you will succeed in any of them. So I think becoming a great salesperson is kind of fundamental to the game. And one way to become a very good salesperson is to model other great salespeople. So what does that mean? If you had a mentor or a coach who taught you the finer points, the finer details of becoming a great salesperson, your career would take leaps instead of steps. You would jump up the food chain rapidly instead of this long, slow curve. It's so funny because I run a coaching business right now that is all about mentoring people and teaching real estate agents how to become owners and investors. And the way they do it, the way we get them there is they become mentees. They study under a mentor. And so I call myself Daron Campbell, your real estate mentor. That's kind of my claim to fame. I think it's the most important thing you can do, is have a model, have someone teach you, have someone take you under their wing and show you. And a mentor is somebody who you might know, who will sort of adopt you, and you might share commissions with that person for a certain period of time. Or there are coaches who are technically mentors as well, but you typically pay them on a weekly or a monthly basis. And so either way, the key factor is you're getting professional guidance from someone who spends their time guiding. It's so, Michael Jordan had a coach. Tiger Woods has a coach. Williams has a coach. These are people who are the best on the planet at what they do, yet they have a coach who observes what they do and tells them how to make those slight tweaks that what they're doing. Come in. Someone's at my door, and come on in, Ryder. Sorry, guys. So if Tiger Woods needs a coach, if Michael Jordan needs a coach, then maybe I need a coach too. Maybe you need a coach too. You see, you don't know what you don't know. And so, in my opinion, if you can find someone who is willing to teach you what they know about the trade, teach you what they know about the tactics and the techniques that shorten the learning curve, then isn't it worth it to adopt that person and bring that person into your world and go from struggling mightily to, hey, here's how I do it. Like if someone, okay, I mentor people because I've closed $4.5 billion worth of transactions. So I probably have seen just about everything you can see in this real estate brokerage game. And so at the same time, you might know someone who's number one, number two person in your office. And guess what? They've seen more than you've seen. They might know how to save a transaction that you have no clue how to maneuver through, right? So that experience becomes belong to you, and it'll shorten your learning curve and make things better and quicker for you. My story was I was struggling. I was cold calling every day, 7-8 hours a day, getting frustrated as hell because cold calling is not fun. But I did it because it was a necessary evil. But I did it. But when I got somebody on the phone, I wasn't particularly good on the phone. When I got somebody to talk to me, I talked to them, and if I got lucky, then they would do business with me. But then I got tired of being in the luck business. I don't want to be in the lucky business. I don't want to. I don't want to have to call someone and hope that they just decided to do business this morning, and this is my lucky day. I called them and I got lucky. What I want to be is a master. I want to be an expert. I wanted to be. I was frustrated because I was like, you know, I'm calling people and I'm really just playing this numbers game. And I'm hoping that I catch the person on the right day and maybe they'll do business with me. But that's really a terrible way to live. I decided at that point in my life, I don't want to get lucky to do business. I want to get good at doing business. So what I did was I went to the number one agent in our company and I said to him, listen, I would like you to be my mentor. I'd like to shadow you. I would like to follow you. I would like to do whatever you tell me to do because I want to be the top agent in this company one day. And he goes, why are you asking me? Everybody here hates me. I go, agent in the company? Yes. I go, that's why. I go, I will give you half of my commission checks for the next year if you teach me how to do what you do. And he was a little caught off guard and a little reluctant, but he said, okay. He goes, but the minute you fail to do one thing that I instruct you to do, if you don't do it, you're out. You get one strike and you're out. I go, done and done. And so I proceeded to shadow that guy, mirror that guy, follow that guy, and do lots of dirty work for him. I did a lot of menial tasks for him, but I observed and I listened. And what he taught me, and the reason I started with the whole salesmanship thing, he taught me how to become a great salesman. And without his mentorship, I would have still been in the business of getting lucky, calling, making phone calls and knocking on doors and hoping and praying that somebody needed me that day. But when I was done with the mentorship with him, not only had I done 17 transactions in that year, I think it was 17, but I had become a real salesman. I had become someone who could take someone through the steps of why they might want to consider selling, show them the benefits of selling, show them how I'm the most professional person they'll ever meet and why I'm the only choice when they sell, and walk them all the way through the sales process and predictably won the listing. So what happened was it got me to the point where I was no longer in the get lucky business. I was in the simply, if I get in front of them, I know I'm going to make the sale. I know I'm going to get the listing. I know I'm going to make the deal. And that's where I am today, fortunately, because of that. But if I hadn't taken on that guy as a coach, as a mentor, he had agreed, or if I didn't have the wherewithal to go and seek him out and ask him to be my mentor, I might still be struggling in the get lucky business or hope and pray that somebody wants to do business with me business. And that's a terrible place to be. I don't want to be in that business. I hope you don't want to be in that business either, because who wants to not know if they're going to make a sale this month? And if you don't know that, look, if I call 100 people and I speak to 14 people and I get meetings with 5 people, I'm going to predictably win 3 of those listings, and my average listing pays me $17,000, $1,000 this month. If you can't put the metric on your business like that, then you're playing for the junior varsity, in my opinion. And I want you to play varsity. I want you to become an expert. I want you to become a master salesperson, because a master salesperson could go to any city, any state, get a license in that state, and become the number one agent in their marketplace, no matter what. You could take an expert, you could take a master salesperson, pick them up and drop them in Kansas City, and in 2 years, they'll be the number one agent in their market. That's what a master salesperson can do. And if you don't have those skills, I suggest strongly that you seek those skills. I suggest strongly that you find someone who can help you garner those skills so that you become an expert seller of real estate. And a lot of agents aren't that. A lot of agents are, hey, I'm going to knock on a few extra doors, or I'm gonna make a few extra calls, or I hate cold calling. I'm gonna just do business with my sphere of influence because they don't want to prospect. Well, let me tell you something. When you are an expert salesperson, cold calling is fun. When you're an expert salesperson, door knocking can even be fun. When you're an expert salesperson, talking to your sphere of influence, or going to the networking group, or going to the holiday party, all are fun because you are a skilled person with master's tools at your disposal. And what that allows you to do is know that you are in command of every environment. And it also gives you the fun privilege of knowing that there is no real estate agent who can beat me at my game. Now, how about that? What if you knew that you were so good at your pitch, your presentation, that when those people were done listening to you, that there's no way they choose another agent over you. And that's the beautiful part of it. That's kind of what gives you this crazy confidence. So I tell people who say, well, we want to interview a few agents. I go, well, okay, you can interview 100 agents. I don't care. When you're done talking to everyone else you want to, talk to me, and you'll list with me. 100%. I'm sure of it. I know it. Kind of sounds a little cocky, but I'm 100%. If they interview 5 agents and then they interview me as number 6, I'm leaving with the listing. Every time. If they interview me first and they say we're going to interview 5 other people, I go, fine. I'll come first, and I'll see you when I get there. And I know I bring the listing agreement with me because I'm going to get the signature that day. They won't interview any other agents. So if I go first, they won't interview anyone else. If I go last, they'll never interview anyone else again. It doesn't matter. When you're a master at your craft, then you get that confidence of knowing that you're going to win 100%. Now just stop. Don't let those words go by you too fast. I really want you to think about that. What if you were truly a master salesperson? The confidence level goes through the roof. Your ability to be comfortable and relaxed through a meeting is amazing. You're calm, you're cool, you know what you know. There's no guessing game. There's no objection you can't overcome. And that's the top of the food chain, ladies and gentlemen. You wonder why some agents can literally, I know 8 or 9 agents who all make over $1 million a year in brokerage. Now, why do they consistently do that while there's 90% of the agents whose income goes up and down, and they got money when they close a deal, and then they're broke 60 days later, and they're wondering where their next deal is going to come from? You want to know why? Because they are not experts at their craft. They don't know for a fact that they know what they're talking about. You know how many agents go into a meeting having no idea how that meeting is going to go? Do you know what experts do? You know what experts know? Experts know exactly how the meeting is going to go. Experts know exactly what the possible objections could be, and they already know how to overcome them. And so experts are that good. I mean, this is your career. I think you should take it that seriously and become, it's worth investing in yourself to become that level of expert. So I say all that to say the best way to become an absolute expert is to get a coach or a mentor. And I know many people avoid it. They go, oh my God, a mentor? That means I got to give half my commission to somebody. Well, guess what? Half of a whole lot of commissions is better than 100% of no commission, right? If a mentor was going to help you to the point where you were so good afterwards that you did 10 extra transactions a year for the rest of your career because of what you learned from that mentor, is that worth giving him half of the deals while he's mentoring you, half of the commission on the deals for 6 months or a year? Would that be worth it? You think it was worth it for me to take on that mentor for a year, give him half of my 18 commission checks, and then be free for the rest of my career to be the best real estate agent in my marketplace? Do you think it was worth it? You see, I really want you to give that some consideration, because Many of us go, oh my God, a coach is too expensive. Or oh my God, a mentor, he takes too much of the commission. Well, guess what? Both of those guys are going to help you make so much more commission and so many more deals because they're going to help you become what? An absolute expert, a master at your craft. And if that's not your highest priority, then you're making a mistake. You know, encourage, I encourage everyone to get a mentor or a coach or both. I've sold $4.6 billion worth of real estate, and I just got off the phone with one of my mentors 30 minutes ago. Why? Because seek advice on a $17.5 million transaction that I'm trying to put together, and he's done 50 of those. So your mentor, your coach, look, you're never too old to stop learning, and there's always someone who has done what it is you're seeking to do, or what it is you're seeking to. There's always somebody who has become what you're seeking to become. Why not approach them, let them coach you or mentor you, sacrifice whatever that costs for the short term, great at your craft. Did you think it was worth it for Tiger Woods? I remember about 15 years ago, Tiger Woods wanted to change his swing because he wanted to drive the ball farther. And so he hired a brand new swing coach. Then he went on to win, I think it was something like $17 million that year on the tour. And he attributed much of that success to his new swing that he learned from who? His new coach. His swing coach gave him the ability to become a master at driving the ball 320 yards. And as a result, he wins multiple tournaments. And as a result, he wins $17 million. You think it was worth it for him to pay that coach? What if that coach charged him $200,000 to teach him how to to drive the ball further? You think it was worth it? You think it was worth it for me to take that mentor on 29 years ago and give him half of those 18 commission checks? You think it was worth it? I think so. And you adopt a mentor, adopt a coach, hire a coach, find a mentor, find out how they did what they did, and mirror them. It's so funny. There's the saying that there's nothing new under the sun. There's truly nothing new under the sun. Someone has done what you are seeking to do. Find them, hire them, mirror them, and then enjoy the success that they enjoy. Life is really not that difficult, ladies and gentlemen. If you humble yourself just this much and seek the help, the advice, the admonition, the guidance of someone who has done it before or knows it a little bit more thoroughly than you, it's probably the best investment you'll make in your entire life. And so, Serpa knows this. I created a mentorship program to teach real estate agents how to become investors. And that's kind of where I sort of gave myself the tag of your real estate mentor. Well, what do? I mentor people and teach them how to go from being just a real estate agent to becoming a wealthy real estate investor and using the real estate license to help you get there faster. But it's a mentorship. I take those people under my wing for 6 months. And when I'm done with them, they're professional investors, buying their own properties instead of just brokering them. But what is the key phrase there? It's a mentorship. It's expensive too. I charge $15,000 for people to be mentored by me for 6 months. But guess what? When I'm done with them, they make $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 per flip that I show them how to do so again, what's the fastest route to the level of success you seek? It's usually with a coach or a mentor or someone who's going to show you the model of how they did what it is you're trying to do. It doesn't have to be difficult. It's simply being, letting go of your ego, realizing you don't know it all, realizing that there's always more to learn, and realizing that there's someone who's already pretty much done what it is I'm seeking to do. So I spoke to my mentor this morning because a $17 million transaction for him is just like a walk in the park, right? Whereas I don't do those every day of the week, especially as the buyer. And he's done literally 20 or 30 of them. And so I sought his advice, his mentorship, and he shortened the learning curve for me. And now I'm much more educated about the area and the product and the do's and don'ts. And he probably saved me, $1 million worth of mistakes. So you could do the same. You want to become a top number one agent. You want to become a highly productive agent. You want to start making $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 a year or more. Has it ever been done before? You know it has. That's part of the reason you got in the business. Well, what better way to learn how to do what the best of the best do than by mirroring them? I think it's so obviously simple that people miss it and fail to do it. Why would you continue walking around in the dark or with blinders on when there's someone who already knows the path to the level of success you want to achieve? It's really kind of simple. Find someone who's done it already and become their student, become their Padawan, and ask them to show you how they achieved what they achieved. I think it's fantastic. Like, for instance, if I wanted to, I've got this mentor coaching thing so ingrained in who I am that I use a mentor to learn how to play golf. You use this in every aspect of your life. I got a mentor who taught me about wine. I kind of collect wine. I joined some wine clubs. Well, I needed a mentor to teach me, well, why do you choose that one versus that one? Or how do you know this type of wine is better than that type of wine? And I could have read a book, sure. I could have, tried to figure it out on my own. That would have taken years and years to figure out. I decided to go to someone who is an expert in that department. And I said, hey, would you show me the ropes? And you know what's funny? 9 times out of 10, people that are sort of at the top of the food chain or experts or masters at what they do, you know what I find? They are happy to give their advice and their admonition to people. And you'd be shocked at how little they get asked for people to be mentored by them. It's amazing. I went to the number one agent in my company and asked him to mentor me. And you know how many other people had asked him to do that in his whole career? None. 0. He was a bit of a tough guy and kind of a jerk sometimes. And that's why he was surprised when I came to talk to him, because he kind of wasn't nice to people in the office. But that didn't bother me. I don't care. You could be mean to me if you're going to show me how to make $1 million. Be mean all you like. Well, it turns out he was a really nice guy. It's just that he kind of had this tough reputation. But shockingly, no one else had ever asked him to mentor them. And I find that in the 7 or 8 mentors I've had since. Very few people are asking them to mentor them. So whatever it is you want to be, or wherever it is you want to go with your career, a coach or a mentor can accelerate that process for you. And many times they'll do it happily. And many times they're doing it out of flattery, because very few people have made that request. So what I'm going to suggest to you is shorten your learning curve by finding an expert who is really, really good at what it is you're trying to do, whether it's prospecting. You go to a number one agent or a top agent and ask them how they prospect, and take what has worked for them and mirror it. They don't have a patent on how to overcome those objections. And if they're willing to teach you how they do it, why not? Why not ask? If it is, your overcoming objections, if it is your skills at, deciding what area you ought to focus on, or if it is having someone teach you the finer points of how to handle a renegotiation in a transaction, or if it's what do you say to sellers to convince you that you stand apart from them. Why not just ask a super duper master high earning expert how they do it, and begin to mirror their process. It's not that hard. It's just don't reinvent the wheel. So many real estate agents are out there trying to wing it or trying to pay for the next shiny object or the next magic pill that'll make their business go through the roof. When the fact is, it's your skills that you need to be working on. It's your skill set that you probably ought to be honing. It's your tools that you need to be sharpening so that you become a better salesperson as opposed to someone who's in the business of getting lucky or someone who is willing to go pay for the next widget or bot or something that's going to magically give you all these leads. Well, I could give you all the leads in the world, but if you're not skilled at closing me for the business, then you're still not gonna get much business. Why not? I like the way Jim Rohn always says it. He goes, don't wish things were easier, wish that you were better. So my challenge to you is, what can you do? What is one or two things you can do every day to get better, as opposed to looking for the latest, greatest widget or shiny object that's going to magically give you more business. It's not your brokerage company that's the problem. It's not the phone numbers that you're calling that are the problem. It's not your market that's the problem. Maybe I ought to change marketplaces. It's not your manager that's the problem. Not the company. It's not the brokerage. It's not any of those things. You want to know what the problem is? It's your skill set. If you become masterful at your craft, which is selling real estate for most of you, then it won't matter what brokerage you're with. It won't matter what's going on around you. It won't matter what the market is doing on the outside. The market's going up, the market's going down, the stock market's doing this, the real estate market is tight, inventory is low. Well, guess what? Inventory is not low for master salespeople. Inventory is not low for people who have sharpened all their tools and know exactly how to win the game. And the best way to learn how to do that, in my humble opinion, is to get yourself a coach or get yourself a mentor and model what they say. Our host, Dave Serpa, is a mentor to many. I'm a coach and a mentor to many. But you don't have to deal with me or him. You can find there are many, many opportunities out there to have a coach or a mentor that, some are more expensive than others. I happen to be very expensive, but some are less expensive. Some people might actually be willing to mentor you for free. Maybe there's an agent who's a super high producer who might need, some type of help with an aspect of their business. So check this out. Let me give you a hint. Here's a way to get a free mentor. If there's a top listing agent in your company and you're just kind of new and you're trying to figure the business out, why don't you go to that top agent and say, hey, I will sit all of your open houses, or I will do all of your buyer showings, and in return, I'd love for you to teach me how you became the top agent in the company, or how you become a top producing agent, or how you become a $500,000 a year agent. If you offer them something in return, many times you can effectively get a mentor on a cost-free basis. But then I also think you ought to be willing to invest in yourself and split commissions with a mentor if they'll teach you how they do what they do, or pay that coach. And some coaches range from, $500 a month to over $5,000 a month, but commit to 3 months or 6 months of coaching and paying for it and investing in yourself. I think it's money well spent. And so if you need a list of potential coaches or coaching companies, Dave Serpa or myself could absolutely help you out. If you're interested in, being mentored on how to become a real estate investor, you can actually reach out to me and email me at info@daroncampbell.com, or go to daroncampbell.com and take a look. And I'll be happy to tell you how that program works. But the long and the short of this is, and I'll open this up for questions in a second, but the long and the short of it is, you need to be mentored, you need to be coached, because everybody needs to be mentored and everybody needs to be coached at some point. It's very hard to become an expert, very hard to become top of the food chain kind of person, without having been coached or mentored at some point in your career. So you want to speed up that learning curve? You want to become an expert in the next 6 months? Get a mentor, get a coach today. And with that, Serpa, I think we should open it up for questions because I rambled on forever, but now I'm ready to listen and answer whatever questions you got.
Fantastic. Daron, you didn't ramble. You just dropped a whole bunch of knowledge for everybody with half a brain and a pen to write it down. So I do have a series of questions from the Zoom, and then I have a couple of questions myself. The first one from the Zoom call is, what is the first thing that you teach one of your mentees?
The first thing that I teach all of my mentees is that generalists may survive, but experts become rich. And so I recommend that everybody choose an area in which they are going to become the absolute expert. You hear me say that all the time, the absolute expert. Now, if you can say, I am the absolute expert at fill in the blank, then I suggest you're probably on your way to becoming a wealthy person. If you can't say, I am the absolute expert at anything, then I'm going to suggest you're probably a generalist, and I could probably, your bank account's probably struggling a little bit.
I love listening to you talk when you talk about how, hey, listen, the riches are in the niches. So whatever that niche is, whether you're working with veterans, whether it is a certain market or area, I love the story that you tell about the number one agent in the world, and just how much he became a specialist in his one neighborhood. And in fact, I've revitalized my whole business around, becoming that expert in a neighborhood and no longer working outside of it. So I have a question for you. Well, first off, I love your innovative approach to mentorship. Hey, listen, here's an offer. I'll give you 50% of my commission. I will X, Y, and Z. And I love that you're not cheap. And so you say, hey, listen, I'm expensive. This is the truth. And so when you said, hey, come to David Serpa for a list of coaches or mentors, there's only one. There's only one person that I reached out to that I wanted to have on this show, because there's a lot of very crooked people out there who are not practicing what they preach, and you are putting your money where your mouth is. You're putting your time where your mouth is. And so with that, my next question, do you prospect and do you cold call?
Let me tell you this. Prospecting and cold calling is still the number one way to generate inventory, to generate listings, to generate business? And the answer is yes, I do. Fortunately, right now we got 13 escrows moving forward. It's hard to stop and prospect, but you got to carve out that time. And I would recommend that the best of the best of the best agents I have ever met till this day prospect at least an hour a day. And I'm talking people that are doing $2 and $3 and $4 million a year in a GCI, and they still prospect daily.
I think that the type of prospecting that you're doing changes. It might be you're working business to business now. You might be more of a rainmaker for a team of agents. There's always something that you could do, but a lot of people say, "Oh, I work on my business. I work on my business." But unless you're rolling up your sleeves and working in the trenches, you are not working on your business. You're not working in your business. You're basically you've become a passive bystander in watching what happens to your business. So I love that you said don't be in the luck business. Are you playing JV? Are you number one on the JV squad? Or are you ready for varsity? The way that you put this stuff, it's just, I'm like, man, I love Daron Campbell. I miss having you in my life. Someone has done what you are trying to do. So let me ask you another question, and I'll make it my last question unless another one pops up here in the Zoom. Because there's only one Daron Campbell. God didn't print more of them. How does somebody find a good coach or a good mentor if they can't afford the best just yet?
If you can't afford the best, then figure out what you can do to help the best so that then they can impart some of their wisdom to you. So like I did, I couldn't afford to give that guy $50,000 to mentor me, but he ended up making over $50,000 because I promised him half of my commission to show me how he did what he did. No free lunch. There is no free lunch. So figure out what it is you can give so that that expert is willing to give to you. What can you give them? Like I said, go say, hey, I'll be your buyer's agent. I'll drive all your buyers around. Hey, I'll be your driver. What can you do to convince that expert to impart some of that wisdom on you? Because it's not free. Why would I give you $1 million formula and hand it over to you for nothing in return? First of all, it would be foolish of me to do it. Secondly, you won't appreciate it. And you need to have skin in the game. So figure out what you can do for that top producer and then go offer it to them in return for that $1 million knowledge.
I love the way that you do this. It always makes me value myself too. Makes you value my own time. So with that, how can people find you, Daron Campbell? And then I'll let you go for the day, my brother.
You can email me at info@daroncampbell.com. You can find me at Daron Campbell on Instagram, Daron Campbell on Facebook, or you can simply go to daroncampbell.com. And you always Google me or YouTube me. I'm kind of all over the place, so not hard to find.
I appreciate you, my friend, my mentor, all around great guy. Daron Campbell, thank you for the heart that you give. Thank you for the information that you give. I appreciate your time.
Thanks, David. My pleasure.
Fantastic. We're going to go ahead and I'll stick around here for a moment in the Zoom class, and we'll go ahead and answer any questions that you might have. That was an absolutely wonderful class. I'm so privileged that there are so many great professors, so many instructors that are jumping in and giving so freely of their information. Feel free to reach out to Daron Campbell. You can do that at daroncampbell.com. And of course, if you ever have any questions for me, if you're in my market, feel free to reach out. I've got my number right there at the bottom of the screen. I've got quite the big announcement that I'm going to be making here later today. And I'll give you guys a little sneak peek right now. I'm doing something that I always said that I would never do again. I'm going to start a real estate team. I said I wouldn't do it. I said I would never do it again. I'm going to start a real estate team. I'm going to be hiring probably on March 31st right here in the office. So feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions about that. And we're going to kick it off. So everybody have a great day. With that, I'm going to end our live broadcast. Encourage you to watch all of these backlogged on YouTube. You can find all of the information with all of our weekly instructors on Mondays that have all of the stuff that you didn't learn while you were in real estate school. Plus Fridays we have Socratic discussions. So it's a lot of great information with a lot of big minds, big hearts that are always willing to get back. Everybody have a great day, have a great week, and I will see you soon. Thank you. Oh, and here's one more thing. Awesome. Thank you. He was super and full of information. Have a great day, everybody.